Can you believe it? It's been over a decade since we had anything new for Kino no Tabi, Kino's Journey. It's been over a decade. Over 10 years. This is a monumental moment, and I know Index may be like the Half-Life 3 of the anime community because of just how popular it is, but in terms of wait time, many have been waiting for, Kino no Tabi to have some form of anime continuation, or at least something new, for over 10 years. A lot longer than Index, and I'm just so happy to see this series back. I mean, it truly is amazing. If something like this, if Kino no Tabi can get, like, a new anime, then honestly, this rekindles my hope that maybe one day I might get myself a Season 3 or even a reboot of Spice Wolf, which it doesn't need, but even then, I'd be very happy. And that's what rekindles my happiness, just to see that something like that could be possible for a series like this that's so old, and I didn't think would be as popular to get another season or whatever, or get a new anime, and actually got one. That actually makes me very happy. So, I'm going to be honest here, I don't really remember much about the series. I remember watching scenes of it a long time ago, and I didn't ever, watch the movie or whatever that came out. I only watched, the original series, and that was a long time ago. I don't even really remember much. I remember I watched a couple episodes, I loved what I had and saw and all that, and I remember what I saw of it. I just can't remember now. I can't remember the content. I know we had, the Motorrad and all that. I know we had Kino, but I don't remember, anything at all. I don't remember any of the content. So, that's all I'm going to say right now. I don't remember anything from the original. However, I will say this, that even if you haven't seen the original, you don't need to see it. Let me explain why. This is a remake slash reboot of the series. It's not that the original anime was bad, it didn't do the original source justice. It was just that since it's so dated, it's so long ago, I think it would have been right to probably just reanimate it again and bring it back, and that's kind of what they're doing. And so you have it where we have an entirely new series that's like a remake slash reboot, and that's basically what we have right here. So if you haven't seen the previous series, you don't necessarily need to watch it, so do not worry. So you can just jump right into this series and watch it. Now, from what I could see here, and what I'm remembering, it does seem like this is going to be episodic. I do remember that this is going to be slightly episodic, in a very similar way of, telling meaning, messages, symbolic stories and stuff, very similar to Mushishi. I mean, Mushishi had its own style, obviously, but this is going to be in a similar state to where it's episodic and telling these meaningful stories throughout the journey of Kino and how she's going to, different town to town and all that, country to country. She's, seeing these different things unfold before her, and so this is going to be one of those things to where we're going on a journey with Kino and getting to see what she experiences for the first time and how she overcomes these things. That's kind of what this series is going to be about. So, anyways, what is, this series entirely about, okay? So, it's about Kino that wants to travel, wants to see the world, wants to, find meaning, and just, understand why traveling is just so fun. And alongside of Kino, you have it to where this motorbike is, called Hermes. Hopefully I'm pronouncing the name right. Basically, she's traveling alongside of him, and she's seeing the world. She is, wanting to see, meaning in different things and just experience it and have fun. That's basically the concept of the series. So if you're not one that's into episodic stories with meaningful messages and all that throughout each individual episode or arc, then I don't recommend you to watch this, because if you're looking for something that extends for a very long period, you might not get that overall. But it's still a very enjoyable, series overall, and it's something that I've been hyped up to see since I heard it got announced a while back. I've been hyped up to see, some form of remake, and here we are. So, let's talk about the first episode. Overall, the first episode, it's very entertaining, and I like the structure of it. And actually, you know what? Let me back up real quick and talk about something. Before I talk about, the structure of it or the episode's meaning, before this even aired, many were condemning this series, saying that Kino no Tabi, the reboot, was not going to be good. I remember seeing it quite a bit, that many were saying it's not going to be good at all. It looks bad. It's not going to be good writing, whatever. That's what many were saying. And I was kind of getting upset with that because people were already throwing it under the bus before it even reached the gate. And people were looking at the animation and then determining that the story was going to be bad. And I was like, that's not how it works. Just because, like, maybe if the art and animation doesn't look that good, doesn't automatically mean that it's going to be a bad adaptation. That's not what it means. I mean, I'm willing to sit through bad art and animation if the story is actually good. And even then, the art and animation really isn't bad with this first episode. So, I'm just going to say right now, all those that were saying that, Kino no Tabi, this remake was going to be a colossal failure, I think they just have to eat their own foot now, because that's basically what just happened. Anyways, getting back into the structure of the episode, it has a lot of meaning to it, because the episode starts off with kind of like saying the end events of the episode. Okay, let me explain. You know how the episode starts off and you see, like, the fires out, and when you see Kino talking about, the thoughts of traveling, why she likes to travel or whatever, or the meaning of it? Well, when the episode first starts off, and if you don't really remember anything of Kino no Tabi, or if you never watched it, you'll be thinking to yourself, like, what's really going on here? You wouldn't kind of understand the concept of the beginning of the episode. And then all of a sudden you get into where Kino's traveling with Hermes, her motorbike, and they're on their journey. And then towards the end of the episode, you have it to where there's a fire being lit, and then you have this conversation going on, which looks very similar to the first part of the episode, and the conversation eventually leads to where the water is put out, and Kino says, like, you know what, I'm going to bed, or let's just go to sleep, or whatever. And when you look at these two scenes, the ending segment of the episode, you actually should flip that around and put that at the beginning of the episode, and then the beginning of the episode should be placed at the end of the episode. It's kind of like both of the episodes' ending and beginning points were swapped, and it was kind of like we got the conclusion of the journey, but then we got the beginning at the end of the episode. And I feel like the message there is to show that it's not necessarily the conclusion of the story that matters, it's the journey to it. And that is what really matters. Have you ever heard that impression? I'm willing to bet many of you have heard that before, like, you know how the journey is what really matters. It's not the in-game result. And you should enjoy it. Like, even if a series is, like, say, bad, like, this is what many like to say. If a series is bad, like, the ending is just absolutely awful, many, instead of looking at just the conclusion of it, they love to look back at the good times, the journey to reach to that very point. And that's kind of what you can get from this episode. That could be the symbolic message here. Even though they kind of spoiled the conclusion of the episode, or why Kino loves to travel, it still doesn't matter because we got to see the events of the journey, which was the episode. So, like I said, I like the message of that. But also, it wasn't just the ending and beginning or whatever that was swapped. You also have it to where there was a reflection from right after that scene, the beginning, and then towards the end, right before that, the swap of the scenes, we had, once again, actually, like, scenes that were very similar to each other. For instance, the horse scene, when Kino was driving her motorbike, and she sees a guy on the, like, near the horse and all that, and, he's like, hey, can you carry my stuff and all that? And when we see the conversation between the two individuals, he's like, help me out and all that, carry my stuff for me. And then, Kino's like, look, if I was to go carry the stuff for you, I might steal it, I might sell it, which would not be good for you whatsoever. And so Kino is making a very logical point. I mean, that is actually very smart. It just shows that Kino's being a very considerate person, because someone would do that. I mean, all these goods, you have a horse and all that. If, since, Kino has a motorbike, she'll obviously get there first, and then she could just sell the stuff and then just run away and leave, which would show that it wouldn't be good for him to trust in her. So she was kind of giving him a warning overall, and eventually it led to the point where he found out about this dude and how he wanted to go to this town because the town does not prohibit murder. You actually can go out and do what you want, for instance, put someone down, and you won't be arrested for it. That's basically what he tells us about this town that Kino is about to go to, that law, there's no laws against, killing people, which is really messed up, and the dude wants to go there because he can do whatever he wants. If he wants to go hurt someone and get rid of them, he can do that, and there's no stopping it whatsoever. And we get to see this type of man, what type of personality he has. He's a very dark individual that's just scummy mean, you can see that this is a type of man that has really no morals whatsoever. All he thinks about is number one, which is himself. And you can see that by the way he expresses himself at the beginning. And you can see how Kino, the way she talks to him, she wants to get out of the situation. Like, she doesn't seem like she's nervous or whatever, but you can see the way she communicates and all that, the way the animation art is done, that Kino just doesn't want to be around this dude, because he is a very toxic individual. And so she eventually leaves him, and she goes to the town to where it doesn't prohibit murder. When she does get there, we find out that the town has a lot of peace. It has a really good public order, which is very strange, because when you think about a town to where murder is allowed, you'd think that it'd just be nothing but chaos. I mean, seriously, you would think that, wouldn't you? I mean, if a town allows something like that, you'd think it'd just be, there would be trash all over the place, buildings would be broken into pieces, people would be scared to even have their doors, open or whatever. You'd think that would be littered all over the town, but that was not the case. When Kino got there, the town was actually in perfect condition. The town was like 100% perfect. Like, there was nothing wrong with it. And when you first get into the episode, you might look at it as if, it's like, a cloth over the wolf's face. Like, we're not seeing the true side of what this town is about. And that is true. That is very true. We didn't really get to see what the town was really about till towards the end of the episode, but it wasn't like we all thought. We didn't understand the true message of the town. The reason why the town was so safe, and the reason why it was so peaceful, was because all the citizens, they worked together. And if anyone came into the town that would threaten others, hurt others, then they would go out of their way and they would put down the individual. So if you thought you can come into that town and go in there and rob people and then murder them, then you're not going to get away with that, because all of the citizens will come up, rise against you, and put you down, and then carry on with their day. And that is what the law is. So it's not like they're prohibiting murder, but the law was made for them. For instance, if someone comes in to try to start stuff, then they can obviously just put you down, and there's just nothing against it. And so that's kind of what was being shown there, that some people, depending on your viewpoint and how you view life, or how you view this rule when you enter this town, will determine if you can fit in or if you don't fit in. So if you're a type of person that's kind of scummy and you're trying to, get rich and all that, hurt individuals and stuff, you don't belong there. But if you are someone that wants to get away from that, you've done some bad things, yes, but you want to get away from that, you're tired of it, and you want to be able to protect yourself at the same time, just, say no to all of it and just move on with your life, then it's the perfect town for you. And that's kind of the message of it. And when you see the end of the episode where Kino finally leaves the town, you see another dude on a horse. And he talks to Kino, which this entire scene reflects the beginning of the episode with the individual that was heinous and he wanted to get rich or whatever he wanted. This individual that Kino talked to, he was very different in terms of just the way he presented himself, the way he talked to Kino. He just seemed like someone that wanted to be calm. He wanted peace. He wanted to settle down. He was just done with it. The way he talked and communicated to Kino shows he was an individual that would fit in with the town. So that's kind of the main message here, showing what the town was about and how distinct the society of this country was. So I do like, Kino no Tabi's first episode, the remake's first episode. It's really good. I don't remember if this was actually in the original anime. I have no idea. I really have no idea, but it truly is just great to have this series back, and it looked great. I mean, there was some scenes that didn't look as good. I mean, the entire motorbike scene, like when it got into like CGI, there was some scenes that did not look good. There were some rough scenes, but besides that, overall, it was a very good first episode, and I know many might not care about this series because it's probably going to be mainly episodic, and I know not many really care about stuff like that, and, I normally don't care much about those type of series either. I mean, if I do, I tend to not really talk about them much, because sometimes they can just have hit or miss episodes, and that could still be the case for, Kino no Tabi, but because of how popular this series is, I remember having fond memories of it a long time ago, I'm willing to bet I'm probably going to really enjoy it. I don't know if I'll review every episode or talk about them, but I do like the series, and it is a recommendation from me, so give it a shot. So, with that being said, let me know your thoughts on the remake of Kino no Tabi. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and, subscribe if you enjoy my content, and if you want to support me for I can continue to focus on YouTube, please go in the description and support me on Patreon. It helps me out a lot. So, I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or nights wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.